Captain Kim Dae-ho looked through the big window of his spaceship. A beautiful blue and green planet was getting bigger and bigger as they moved closer. This was Zephyria, home to an alien race that humans had never met before. His heart beat, fast with excitement and worry. "Are we ready for this?" asked Dr. Park Soo-jin, walking up beside him. She was the team's expert on alien life forms and had spent 3 years learning everything she could about the Zephyrians, from the signals they had received from space. "As ready as we can be," Dae-ho replied, adjusting his blue uniform. The spaceship Harmony's Edge carried humanity's best diplomats, scientists, and translators. They had one simple mission: make friends with the Zephyrians and show them that humans came in peace. Engineer Lee Woo-jin was busy checking the translation machines one more time. These special computers would help humans and Zephyrians understand each other's languages. "The translators are working perfectly, Captain," he said with a smile. "We should be able to talk to them without any problems." Dr. Choi Min-ho carried a large box filled with gifts from Earth. Inside were recordings of beautiful human music, books of poetry, mathematical equations that showed how smart humans were, and paintings that displayed human creativity. "I hope they like what we brought," he said nervously. The plan was simple but had taken years to prepare. Humans had been listening to Zephyrian radio signals for decades, slowly learning their language and culture. The aliens seemed to live in a society where everyone had a specific job and rank. They were proud warriors but also seemed interested in art and science. "Remember, everyone," Captain Kim said to his team, "we represent all of humanity today. We show them our best side. We are peaceful explorers who want to share knowledge and friendship with other intelligent life in the galaxy." On the planet below, things were very different. Christark Vexithalan stood in his crystal palace, watching the human ship approach on his viewing screens. His body was made of what looked like living crystal, hard and sharp like diamond, but able to move like a person. His species had evolved from creatures that lived in caves and had to fight other animals to survive. "Look at them," Vexthalan said to his military commander. "See how their eyes point forward like hunters. See how they show their teeth when they make facial expressions. These are not peaceful creatures." The Zephyrian leader had studied the images humans had sent ahead as a greeting. Every picture worried him more. Human children playing looked like young predators learning to hunt. Human sports looked like combat training. Even human art seemed to show themes of conquest and victory. "Sir, they say they want peace," his commander replied carefully. "Their messages speak of friendship and cooperation." "That is exactly what a clever predator would say," Vexithalan answered, his crystal body flashing with angry red light. "They conquered their own planet completely. Now, they come to the stars. We have seen this pattern before in nature. First they study you, then they pretend to be friends, then they attack when you are not ready." Back on the human ship, nobody knew about these fears. Communications officer Han Ji-woo received a message from the planet. "Captain, they are giving us permission to land. They want to meet us in their capital city." "Excellent news," Captain Kim smiled. "Tell them we are honored by their invitation and look forward to beginning a long friendship between our peoples." As the human shuttle prepared to leave the main ship, Dr. Park Soo-jin felt excited but also nervous. "Do you think this will really work?" she asked Captain Kim. "Making friends with aliens seems so difficult." "It has to work," he replied, looking at the beautiful alien world below them. "Humans are not alone in the universe anymore. We need to learn to get along with our neighbors. This is the most important thing our species has ever tried to do." The shuttle flew down through Zephyria's atmosphere, passing over cities made of crystal that sparkled like jewels in the sunlight. The alien architecture was amazing, with buildings that looked like they had grown naturally from the ground instead of being built. "It's beautiful," whispered engineer Lee Woo-jin, staring out the window. "They must be very advanced to create something like this." Dr. Choi Min-ho checked his box of gifts one more time. "I hope our presents show them that humans create beautiful things too. Maybe when they see our art and music, they will understand that we are not dangerous." As the shuttle landed in the Crystal City, Captain Kim took a deep breath. This is it, everyone. Today we make history. Today humans join the galactic community as friends and equals. But down in his palace, Christarch Vexthalin was already making very different plans. He had contacted other alien species and warned them about the human threat. Soon, he thought, the galaxy would thank him for stopping these dangerous predators before they could spread further among the stars. The stage was set for a meeting that would change everything, though not in the way anyone expected. The first meeting took place in a huge crystal hall that sparkled like the inside of a diamond. Ambassador Park Soo-jin walked carefully across the smooth floor, carrying her presentation materials. The Zephyrian leaders sat on tall crystal thrones, their bodies glowing with different colors that seemed to show their emotions. "Welcome to our world," said Christarch Vexthalin, his voice coming through the translation machine in perfect human language. But his crystal body was flashing yellow and red, which the humans did not know meant danger and anger. "Thank you for this honor," Park Soo-jin replied, bowing respectfully. "We come from Earth with gifts and hopes for friendship between our peoples." She smiled warmly, showing her teeth in what humans considered a friendly gesture. But when the Zephyrians saw her white teeth and the way her lips pulled back, they saw something completely different. To them, it looked exactly like a predator showing its fangs before attacking. Several Zephyrian guards moved closer to their weapons. Dr. Choi Min-ho stepped forward with the box of gifts from Earth. "We brought music from our world," he said, starting to play a recording of a beautiful human symphony. The music filled the crystal hall with gentle sounds of violins and flutes. The Zephyrians listened, but all they could hear was the way the music rose and fell like the sounds a hunting pack makes when surrounding prey. The drums reminded them of footsteps getting closer and closer. Even the beautiful melody sounded like a war song to their ears. "Very interesting," Vexthalin said slowly, his crystal form now glowing bright red. "Your music has a very aggressive quality to it." Park Soo-jin looked confused. "Aggressive? This is one of our most peaceful compositions. It was written to celebrate harmony and love." Engineer Lee Woo-jin tried to help by showing pictures of human cities on Earth. "Look at our beautiful cities," he said, making direct eye contact with the Zephyrian leaders as he spoke. "We have eliminated war on our planet. We live together in peace." But the Zephyrians saw something terrifying when he looked directly at them. In their culture, only predators stared straight into the eyes of their prey. The pictures of human cities looked like the organized territories of highly successful hunters who had taken control of everything. "You eliminated war by conquering everyone," Vexthalin said, his voice getting colder. "Just as predators eliminate competition by becoming the strongest." "No, that's not right," Park Soo-jin said quickly, feeling worried about how the meeting was going. "We eliminated war by learning to work together. We developed science and art and philosophy. We grew beyond our violent past." She showed them more pictures of human children playing in parks, students learning in schools, and artists creating beautiful paintings. "Look at our children," she said. "See how happy and peaceful they are." But when the Zephyrians looked at human children running and playing, they saw young predators practicing their hunting skills. The games looked like combat training. The laughter sounded like the excited calls hunters make when they catch prey. Captain Kim Dae-ho could see that something was going wrong, but he could not understand what. "Perhaps we could share some of our scientific knowledge," that he suggested. "We have developed amazing technologies for space travel and peaceful energy production." "Space travel technology," repeated Vexthalin, now glowing bright orange. "Perfect for spreading across the galaxy like a disease. And energy production for powering your war machines." Dr. Choi Min-ho tried a different approach. "What about our literature? Our poetry speaks of love, beauty, and the search for meaning in life." He began reading from a famous human poem about the beauty of nature and the importance of protecting all living things. The Zephyrians heard the poem but understood it differently. When humans wrote about conquering mountains or capturing the beauty of a sunset, the aliens heard the language of hunters describing their victories. Every metaphor sounded like a battle plan. Communications Officer Han Ji-woo noticed that the Zephyrian guards were getting more and more nervous. Their crystal bodies were flashing warning colors, and they were moving into positions around the room. "Captain," she whispered, "I think something is wrong. They seem upset about something." "Captain," Kim tried to calm the situation. "Friends, perhaps there has been some misunderstanding. We truly come in peace. We want nothing more than to learn from each other and explore the stars together." But his words only made things worse. When he said explore, the Zephyrians heard hunt. When he said learn from each other, they heard study our weaknesses. When he smiled to show friendship, they saw a predator planning its next move. Vexthalan stood up from his crystal throne, his body now glowing bright red with alarm. "Enough of these games," he said loudly. "We know what you are. We have seen your kind before in nature. You are apex predators who use deception to catch your prey." The human delegation looked at each other in complete confusion. Ambassador Park Soo-jin stepped forward desperately. "Please, you must believe us. We are not what you think we are. We have evolved beyond violence. We seek only friendship." "Predators always lie," Vexthalan replied coldly. "That is how they survive. But we will not be fooled by your masks of civilization." As the meeting ended badly, neither side understood what had gone wrong. The humans returned to their ship feeling confused and hurt. The Zephyrians began making secret plans to protect themselves from what they believed was a terrible threat to the entire galaxy. 2 weeks had passed since the first meeting, and Captain Kim Dae-ho was starting to feel hopeful again. The Zephyrians had invited the humans back for what they called a great ceremony of friendship. The translation machines made it sound like exactly what the human team had been hoping for. "Maybe we were wrong about how badly the first meeting went," said Dr. Park Soo-jin as she prepared her best diplomatic clothes. "Perhaps they just needed time to think about our offer of friendship." Engineer Lee Woo-jin was busy checking all their equipment. "The ceremony is supposed to last 3 days, he said excitedly. "They want to show us their most important cultural traditions and share a formal meal together." Dr. Choi Min-ho had prepared special gifts for the ceremony. "I brought recordings of our most peaceful music and pictures of human families celebrating together. If anything will show them we are not dangerous, this will." What the humans did not know was that Christarch Vexthalan had been very busy during those 2 weeks. He had sent secret messages to alien species all across the galaxy, warning them about the human threat. He had told them that Earth's people were dangerous predators who used fake friendship to get close to their victims. "The humans have agreed to come to our ceremony," Vexthalan told his military commander. "This will be the perfect chance to capture them and show the galaxy how we stopped these monsters before they could spread." The Zephyrian leader had been studying human behavior during their visits. Every smile looked like a threat to him. Every friendly gesture seemed like part of a hunting strategy. He was completely convinced that humans were planning to attack his people and take over their planet. Communications Officer Han Ji-woo received the formal invitation with excitement. "Captain, they want us to bring our whole diplomatic team to the ceremony. They say it will be a celebration that both our species will remember forever." "That sounds wonderful," Captain Kim replied, not knowing how true and terrible those words would become. "Tell them we accept their generous invitation with great honor." Security Chief Yoon Da-hee felt a little worried about bringing everyone to the planet at the same time. "Sir, should we keep some people on the ship just to be safe?" she asked. "No, that might seem rude or suspicious," the captain answered. "We need to show them complete trust if we want them to trust us back. This ceremony could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship between our peoples." On the day of the ceremony, the Crystal City looked more beautiful than ever. Colored lights danced through the crystal buildings and sweet music played from hidden speakers. Thousands of Zephyrians lined the streets watching as the human shuttle landed in the main square. "Look at all these people," said Dr. Choi Min-ho, waving at the crowds. "They seem so excited to see us." The Zephyrians were excited, but not in the way the humans thought. They believed they were about to watch their leaders capture the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Many of them had heard the stories about how humans had taken over their entire planet and were now spreading to the stars. Ambassador Park Soo-jin walked proudly through the crystal halls, carrying the ceremonial gifts from Earth. The Zephyrian guards were everywhere, but she thought they were just there for the celebration. She had no idea they were actually surrounding the human team. The ceremony began in the Great Crystal Hall, which had been decorated with beautiful lights and flowers. Both species shared food and drinks while soft music played in the background. For the first time since arriving on Zephyria, the humans felt like the mission might actually succeed. "This food is delicious," said engineer Lee Woo-jin, trying a strange purple fruit that tasted like honey and cinnamon. "And look how happy everyone seems." Captain Kim stood up to give a speech about friendship and cooperation between humans and Zephyrians. His words were translated perfectly, and he spoke from his heart about hope for the future. "Today marks the beginning of a new age," he said. "An age when different species work together to make the galaxy a better place for everyone." The Zephyrians listened politely, but they heard something completely different. To them, his speech sounded like a predator announcing his victory over new hunting grounds. When he talked about working together, they heard plans for taking control. Dr. Park Soo-jin presented the final gift, a crystal sculpture made by human artists specifically for this ceremony. It showed beings from different worlds holding hands around a star, representing peace and unity. "We made this to show our dream of friendship between all intelligent life," she said. The crowd made appreciative sounds, but Kristark Vexthalan had heard enough. He stood up slowly, his crystal body beginning to glow bright red. The music stopped, and the hall became very quiet. "Citizens of Zephyria and beings across the galaxy," he announced in a loud voice that was broadcast to alien worlds everywhere. "Today you witness something historic. Today we capture the most dangerous predators ever to threaten galactic peace." The human delegation looked around in confusion as Zephyrian guards surrounded them. Energy barriers appeared around the room, trapping them inside. Captain Kim stepped forward, his face showing complete shock. "What is happening?" he asked. "We came here in friendship. We brought gifts and offers of peace." "You came here hunting," Vexthalan replied coldly. "But we have made you the prey instead. The galaxy will thank us for stopping you before you could destroy more worlds." The humans found themselves prisoners in what they had believed was their greatest diplomatic success. Their peaceful mission had become a trap, and they were now seen as the monsters they had never wanted to be. The news reached Earth 3 days later through an emergency signal that had been hidden in the diplomatic ship. President Song Mi-ra sat in the emergency meeting room, reading the terrible message over and over again. Her best diplomats were prisoners on an alien world, and the Zephyrians were telling the entire galaxy that humans were dangerous monsters. "How did this happen?" she asked Admiral Nam Tae-hyun, who was studying reports from their deep space monitoring stations. "Our people went there with gifts and songs. They offered friendship to everyone they met." "It doesn't matter what we offered," the Admiral replied sadly. "The Zephyrians have convinced half the galaxy that we are some kind of space-traveling predators. Other alien species are starting to avoid our territory and block our communication signals." Dr. Lee Sung-ho, who was in charge of the space fleet, looked at the military options on his computer screen. "Our ships were never built for fighting," he said. "We have mining vessels, exploration ships, and cargo carriers. Nothing that was designed for war." "Maybe that's exactly what we need," said Commander Park Hye-jin, who had been quietly studying the Zephyrian defenses. "They expect us to attack like warriors, but we're not warriors. We're engineers and miners and scientists. We think differently." President Song tried one more time to solve the problem peacefully. She sent messages to the Zephyrian government, offering to trade technology, resources, even prisoners from Earth's past in exchange for the diplomatic team. Every offer was rejected. "They won't negotiate," reported Communications Director Kim Yoo-jin. "They say that talking to us would be like making deals with wild animals. They believe we are too dangerous to be reasoned with." After 2 weeks of failed peace attempts, President Song made the hardest decision of her life. "We cannot leave our people to die as prisoners," she announced to the Emergency Council. "If the Zephyrians want to see monsters, then we will show them what humans can do when we have no other choice." Captain Lee Sung-ho took command of the rescue mission with a heavy heart. His ship, the Perseverance, had been built to cut apart asteroids and move huge pieces of rock through space. Now he had to figure out how to use these tools to save human lives. "Remember, everyone," he told his crew as they prepared to leave Earth, "we are not going there to conquer or destroy. We are going to bring our people home. We use only the force we need and nothing more." The human fleet that traveled to Zephyria was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of warships with big guns, it was made up of mining vessels with precision-cutting lasers, cargo ships with powerful gravity manipulation systems, and exploration vessels with advanced scanning technology. Engineer Yoon Da-hee had spent days figuring out how to turn peaceful tools into rescue equipment. "The mining lasers can cut through their crystal walls without hurting anyone inside," she explained. "The gravity manipulators can move their ships without destroying them. We can disable their defenses instead of blowing them up." When the human fleet arrived at Zephyria, Christarch Vexthalan was ready with his entire military force. He had built his battle plans around the idea that humans would attack like typical space warriors, with big ships shooting energy weapons in straight lines. "Here come the predators," he announced to his commanders. "Now we will show the galaxy how real warriors fight against monsters." But the humans did not fight like warriors at all. They fought like humans. Captain Lee's ships moved in patterns that confused the Zephyrian defense systems. Instead of attacking head-on, they used the asteroids and moons around the planet as cover and tools. Mining ships cut space rocks into perfect shapes and used gravity manipulators to throw them at exact targets. "They're not fighting like soldiers," reported a confused Zephyrian commander. "They're fighting like engineers solving a puzzle." Commander Park Hyejin led a small team that slipped past the main battle using a cargo ship that looked harmless. While the Zephyrians focused on the mining vessels, she landed on the planet and began cutting through the crystal prison walls. With tools designed for delicate scientific work, the battle was over in 6 hours. The human fleet had disabled every Zephyrian military ship without destroying a single one. They had neutralized the planet's defense systems without harming any civilians. They had rescued their diplomatic team and were ready to leave. But Captain Kim Dae-ho, now free from his crystal prison, looked at the defeated Zephyrian forces with sadness instead of victory. He walked over to where Christarch Vexthalan sat among the ruins of his command center. "We came to you with music and art," Captain Kim said quietly. "We showed you pictures of our children playing and our families celebrating together. We offered you the best parts of human civilization." Vexthalan's crystal body was dim and gray with defeat. You fought like predators," he whispered. "No," Captain Kim replied. "We fought like humans. We solved the problem you created with the tools we had available. But we never wanted to fight at all. You forced us to become what you feared we already were." As the human ships prepared to leave Zephyria, news of their victory spread across the galaxy faster than their original message of peace had ever traveled. The other alien species now knew that humans were not just friendly diplomats. They were also capable of incredible things when pushed too far. The humans had won, but they had lost something important in the process. They were no longer seen as peaceful explorers. Now they were known as the species that could defeat anyone when necessary. 3 months after the rescue mission, Captain Kim Dae-ho stood in the ruins of the Zephyrian Command Center one last time before leaving their world forever. Christarch Vexthalan sat quietly in the corner, his once bright crystal body now dull and gray like old glass. The proud leader who had tried to save the galaxy from human monsters now looked broken and small. "I still don't understand," Vexthalan said in a weak voice. "Your people sing songs about love and paint pictures of flowers. Your children play gentle games and laugh with joy. How can the same species be so terrifying in battle, Captain?" Kim knelt down beside the defeated alien leader. "That's exactly the point," he said softly. "We are both things at the same time. We can create beautiful art and solve complex problems. We can also defend ourselves when we have no other choice. You saw only one side of what humans can be." Dr. Park Soo-jin walked over to join them, carrying her box of gifts that had never been properly received. "We brought you our poetry and music because that's who we really are," she said. "But when you threatened our people, you met the part of us that we hoped we would never have to show anyone." The irony was bitter and complete. The humans had achieved exactly what they came for, peace with alien civilizations across the galaxy. But they had gotten it in the worst possible way. Instead of being welcomed as friends, they were now feared as powerful enemies who chose not to attack. News of the human victory had spread to every corner of known space. Ambassador Park Soo-jin read the reports coming in from dozens of different alien worlds. "The Altarians want to sign a peace treaty immediately," she told Captain Kim. "The Centauri Federation is offering us trade agreements. The Vegan Empire wants to discuss military alliance. And none of them are doing it because they like us," Captain Kim replied sadly. "They're doing it because they're afraid of what might happen if they don't." Communications Officer Han Ji-woo had been monitoring alien communication networks for weeks. "Sir, you should hear some of these messages," she said. "They're calling us the species that fights like ghosts and the peaceful monsters." One alien news report said we are too dangerous to anger and too valuable to ignore. Engineer Lee Woo-jin had been working on establishing new diplomatic stations throughout the galaxy. "The strange thing is, it's actually working," he said. "Alien species that have been fighting each other for centuries are suddenly making peace. They're all too worried about humanity to waste time on their old wars." Dr. Choi Min-ho looked through the reports of galactic conflicts that had ended since the Zephyrian incident. War between the Crystal Confederation and the Metal Alliance ended. The Great Trade War in the Spiral Arm finished. The border. Disputes of the Outer Rim resolved. They're all too busy watching us to fight each other. 6 months later, Captain Kim stood on the observation deck of the new human galactic embassy, a massive space station that orbited neutral territory between several alien worlds. Through the large windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species docking peacefully at the station's ports. The embassy was always busy now. Alien diplomats came every day to meet with human representatives, not because they wanted to be friends, but because they needed to know what humanity was planning. Next, peace treaties were signed weekly, not out of friendship but out of careful fear. "Look at all this," said Commander Park Hae-jin, pointing at the constant stream of alien visitors. "We've become the unofficial peacekeepers of the galaxy. When two species start fighting, they both send messages to us asking what we think about their conflict." "They don't want our opinion," Captain Kim replied. "They want to make sure we won't get involved. They're all afraid that if they cause too much trouble, they might attract human attention." Dr. Park Soo-jin had been appointed as the chief human ambassador to the galaxy. Her job was to meet with alien leaders and convince them that humanity truly wanted peace. But every conversation was the same. The aliens were polite, respectful, and terrified. "We understand that your species values harmony," a Andromedan delegate had told her that morning. "We promise that our war with the Nebula people will not disturb human space. Please do not feel the need to intervene." "We don't want to intervene," Dr. Park had replied sadly. "We just want to be friends." "Of course," the alien had answered quickly. "We will be the best friends humanity could ask for." That evening, Captain Kim received a message from Earth. His daughter had sent him a video of her school class singing a song about peace and friendship among all the beings in the universe. The children's voices were sweet and hopeful, full of dreams about a galaxy where different species work together happily. "They still believe in the dream," he said to Dr. Park Soo-jin as they watched the video together. "Our children still think we can have real friendship with aliens." "Maybe they can," she replied. "Maybe the next generation will find a way to be friends instead of just keeping peace through fear. Maybe they'll figure out how to show the galaxy our art and music without also having to show our strength." Captain Kim looked out at the stars, watching alien ships carefully maintain safe distances from human vessels. The galaxy was more peaceful than it had been in centuries, but it was a cold and lonely kind of peace. "We got what we wanted," he said quietly. "We just had to become monsters to get it."